it is absolutely essential here when you're going rock hounding that you have your bug net with you. You cannot concentrate otherwise. I'm flying along towards Sand Lake, and we're going to turn right at Sand Lake to take us into the area. I recommend that you do your research online first, otherwise you're really not going to find a lot. But as I'm booting along here, what do I see? This road cut, and in it a zoned fissure. You've got quartz in the middle, you've got feldspar further out. That's always a really promising thing for finding crystals, and of course kind of speaks of a bit of a pegmatite. That's what you call zoning. You find different kinds of crystals in different zones of the pegmatite, depending on how quickly they solidify based on the dropping of the temperature within the pegmatite. So this area north of Sand Lake, it's the collecting area for the day. It's typified pegmatites, very scenic. So when we're talking pegmatites, these are not pegmatites necessarily that are containing economically extractable minerals. They're not in quantities in the region of tons or whatever, but as a gem collector or a crystal collector, you will definitely find beautiful specimens in these pegmatites. You know, we're talking things like lithiums, berylliums. I'll put a list of them down the side here. If that works for you, maybe it's easier to explain it like that. Euxenite, what they call, as I said before in the past, the trash can mineral. So as the pegmatite is cooling, the euxenite takes up all of the surplus random, often rare earth elements and sometimes radioactive elements. It takes them up and incorporates it into its structure, and it's got a pretty distinctive shape. Word of advice: taking a leak in these conditions is extremely hazardous. Pretty well taking your life in your own hands, amongst other things. Anything outside the bug jacket, open to immediate assault. So up there is the pegmatite. That's where you're going to find your euxenite. Yeah, you're pretty much better off crossing downstream there. So at the bottom of the slope, you know, you've got your quartz, you've got your mica, you've got your feldspar, all good signs of a pegmatite. I have, to save you the trouble, gone up this hill, almost to the top, up there, and scoured in either direction, and I have not really found anything that would suggest that there's anything but the area down near the falls, where it's most obvious where you're going to find that outcropping of the pegmatite. I wouldn't doubt there's been some serious digging taking place there, and all of the debris pushed down slope. Exactly where you will find the crystals that you would be looking for, euxenite or whatever, it's hard to say. I mean, it's just a matter of time and doing what rockhounds do. As a collector, finding crystals in a pegmatite in this region is definitely a thing that's, you know, can be done and make your collecting worthwhile. But as an industrialist, it is not economic to be attempting to mine the local pegmatites, because most of the minerals do not occur in economic proportions. This smoky quartz here, kind of telling you there's definitely radioactives in the area, uranite, chlorite, whatever. All these kind of blind rises and so on. I'm really at this point hoping not to get smoked by a logging truck. They're quite common around here. Whenever I'm heading off the main travel ways into the forest, I always take a bearing with my compass so that I know how to get back. So the direction I'm going in, and then 180 degrees from that is my back bearing, and that's how I make sure that I don't become disorientated and end up wandering forever in the woods. So you can see the kind of crystal edges of the feldspar. It's intermingled with quartz all over the place. So at this particular site, there's what they call muscovite mica, which is white mica. I believe it's magnesium that is its thing that makes it white, or typifies that type of mica. You'll find biotite mica, which is black. You'll find beryllium, euxenite, the trash can mineral, feldspar, tons of it. Some nice crystals here. A lot of times I just go to look. I love looking at the stuff. I don't take stuff half the time. Depending on the area that I am, would define what I do. Again, some lovely, you know, partial crystal there, feldspar again. And here's an example of the white mica. You can see it. So this is an example of a pegmatite that is far more crystal developed than, say, the first one we were looking at. Very, very large crystals, usually a sign of having cooled slowly, having adequate space, having the right materials. So in these kind of locations where you have the beryllium, you're going to find other types of related crystals. Phenakite being a good example, often can occur as an inclusion. Sorry, bugs everywhere. It kind of looks a bit like quartz, so it's hard to tell the difference between the phenakite and the actual quartz. And then you've got bertrandite, which are small tabular crystals. So there are many possibilities, right? They're kind of replacement crystals. You know, maybe the beryl was there, the columnar beryl crystal, and then it somehow gets absorbed, and right nearby you end up with the phenakite. So typically within a pegmatite like this, you're going to find about 2 to 10 parts per million of beryl. However, it can become enriched within the magma by what they call fractional crystallization, meaning that certain elements drop out in crystals, leaving other elements therefore in a higher concentration. So that often happens in a pegmatite. Obviously, I mean, you can see the crystals. Crystals are coming out of the melt solution, leaving other crystals in higher concentration. So the fact that you're seeing muscovite mica in this particular area often speaks of a pegmatite that is rich in rare elements, for example lithium. And of course, if you've got the lithium, you get that flat crystals of spodumene. Not too uncommon, you know, north of the Thunder Bay Rainy River area. They exist in fair proportions up. Getting just a little bit of a bluish sheen off this feldspar. Enough to know that there's peristerite in this area, obviously. That's just kind of tending in that direction a bit. The edge of that little book of muscovite mica is kind of cool. You can see the crystals are actually flat, but they're stacked like plates on top of each other. Hence the edge that you're looking at there, as they're all lined up. Not sure what this is. It's hard to even see out of this bug net. It's somewhat transparent. You can see the columnar shape of the crystal. At least I believe that's the C-axis down through the top there. Not sure. I'm going to have to look at it carefully when we get home, clean it up a bit. So here in this spot where the quartz is just solid, you know it's right at the core, but within that you're seeing some potassium feldspar here stuck underneath a tree root. You can see the edge of the crystal and possibly a face right there, which you can't really see fully because the tree's in the way, but still quite large and quite nice to see. Again, I like what I'm seeing here. Look at this. There's the lovely crystal faces. Admittedly, the back end of this feldspar is not so impressive, but still. So here's a really beautiful kind of lump. You can see crystal faces in various spots of feldspar crystals that have sort of formed and then been, you know, formed over, you know, intermingled with the quartz. It's really quite a beautiful piece. And again, of course, I leave the stuff where I find it for the most part, so that other people can enjoy it. I mean, there has been this idea thrown around of eco rock hounding. You know, it's a matter of opinion as to what you want to do, but for me, I do have a lot of crystals at home, I must admit. Some of this quartz is just beyond clear. Like you know, if I didn't know better, I'd say it was glass. You kind of know the quartz for a number of reasons. One of those being that it would have a conchoidal fracture. This is kind of odd because it's not really this. I'm not seeing any signs of conchoidal fracture on it. It's almost like it has a almost like a smooth faces. I don't know, man. Maybe this is the modified beryllium. It has a strange resinous feel as well. This is not a quartz, as much as it initially looked like it. Clarity and this resinous feel to it. This needs looking into, my friends. So I guess I'm nearing the end of my time up in this location. Gem quality barrels, aquamarine, what have you. I have in this region found some aquamarine. I wouldn't call it gem quality, but where there is white mica, you are more likely to find that gem barrel, and also intrusions of quartz, hydrothermally deposited, in other words deposited by superheated water vapors from, say, a Pluton beneath. Those are both signs of where you're going to find that particular gem quality barrel. No luck today, can't win every day, but I mean, it's been an interesting day. There's been lots of wonderful things, and I bet you can see the bugs that I can see and feel right now. So find my way back to the road and head back home.